The darkness before dawn is often called the witching hour, a time when the veil between our waking world and the ethereal realm of dreams is at its thinnest. It's during this quiet stretch of night that nightmares often come alive, twisting our perceptions and leaving us gasping for breath as we navigate landscapes of terror in our minds. But imagine a scenario more terrifying than any nightmare. Imagine a situation where these nocturnal horrors refuse to stay confined within the borders of dreams, seeping into reality and turning your waking hours into a living hell. Welcome to our exploration of sinister sleep studies where nightmares break free from the confines of dreams and invade the harsh glare of daylight. The first chilling step into this abyss is often through a door marked with the promise of respite, a sleep lab where patients are lured with the hope of curing chronic nightmares or soothing sleep disorders. For many, it's a beacon of hope, a chance to finally banish the demons that have haunted their nights. But like a mirage in the desert, the true nature of this solace is deceptive. As patients check in, they're greeted by consent forms that seem unusually detailed or contain hidden clauses that hint at more invasive procedures than initially discussed. Some mention something about additional tests or the possibility of not waking up at all. While most dismiss these as standard legal jargon, a few uneasy feelings linger. After all, why would a sleep study require such extensive consent? Then there are instances where preliminary tests go beyond the expected. Tests that delve into the darkest recesses of their nightmares, asking them to recall every terrifying detail, every spine-chilling image. It's almost as if the lab is preparing for a battle with creatures from an alternate dimension. But what seems like an innocuous effort to understand the nature of their troubled dreams is actually a sinister prelude to a far more sinister agenda. As the patients drift off, they enter a realm where their worst fears are not just acknowledged, but weaponized. What they thought was a sanctuary becomes a chamber of horrors. The sleep lab morphs into a sinister stage where their nightmares are not put to rest, but actively induced. This revelation comes as a shock, often during those unsettling moments when they wake up not in their own beds, but still on the lab's cold, sterile surface. They find themselves in a twisted reflection of their own minds, trapped in an endless loop of their most terrifying dreams. Some report being kept in a state of perpetual slumber, cycling through the same nightmare over and over again, each one more horrifying than the last. Others tell tales of waking and sleeping only to find themselves right back in the heart of their fears. In these chilling narratives, the patients become unwilling participants in their own personal hellscapes. And the line between the conscious and subconscious worlds blurs until it disappears entirely. But the nightmare doesn't end when they wake up. It follows them home, seeping into their everyday lives. It's a haunting phenomenon known as the transfer. Their nightmares bleed into their waking hours, turning familiar faces and places into menacing presences. The comfort of their own homes transforms into a landscape of fear. Their once cherished memories become distorted, haunting echoes of their past. And the relentless cycle of dread continues. And then there are the inexplicable occurrences that defy rational explanation. Some report seeing equipment malfunction, dials spinning wildly, or monitors flashing cryptic error messages. Others speak of unsettling interactions with the lab staff, moments of eerie silence or sudden, uncalled-for questions. Then there are the phantom sounds, whispers in the dead of night, the rustle of unseen footsteps, or the distinct ringing of a phone that's never there. These auditory hallucinations weave a tapestry of unease, making it impossible for the patients to discern reality from the nightmare. It's here, in this twilight zone of consciousness, that the true horror unfolds. The patients soon realize they're no longer simply experiencing their nightmares. They've become part of them. And the distinction between victim and nightmare blurs until there's no difference left. They feel as though they're being watched, not just by the researchers, but by the very nightmares they're trying to escape. The line between sanity and madness becomes a razor-thin margin. And as days turn into nights, they're forced to confront a terrifying truth. In this sinister game of scientific exploration, they're nothing more than pawns. But the nightmare doesn't end at their front doors. It spills out into the world, infecting their loved ones, their workplaces, their entire realities. Friends and family become unwitting participants in this terrifying ordeal, drawn into the vortex of the nightmare. For some, the transfer takes on a life of its own. They see terrifying figures lurking in the periphery, hear whispers of their name on the wind, or feel icy fingers trailing down their skin. It's as if the nightmare has its own volition, reaching out to make the waking world as terrifying as the dream. And the patients become isolated, cut off from the support of their loved ones by a miasma of fear. In a desperate bid for normalcy, they try to share their experiences to convince others of the danger they face. But their pleas fall on deaf ears, dismissed as the ravings of someone deeply disturbed. The insidious influence of the nightmare begins to take root, growing stronger with each passing moment. The patients become prisoners in their own lives, their every move dictated by the whims of their unseen tormentors. Some succumb to the pressure, their minds breaking under the strain. They relive their nightmares daily, forever trapped in an endless loop of terror. Others fight back, clinging to the last vestiges of their sanity. They resist, lashing out, seeking to break free from the nightmare's suffocating grip. But against an invisible, intangible enemy, what hope do they have? What makes these stories truly terrifying is their persistence. Even after the patients leave the sleep lab, the nightmare follows them, refusing to be confined to the realm of dreams. It's a violation of the natural order, a blurring of the lines between the real and the unreal, leaving us questioning the very nature of our existence. When they do escape, the aftermath is often devastating. Many are left with long-term psychological repercussions, grappling with post-traumatic stress, chronic insomnia, an all-consuming fear of sleep, and even drastic personality changes. Their lives become a shadow of what they once were, haunted by the specter of their never-ending nightmares. The fight for recognition is equally harrowing. Ex-patients often find themselves in a Kafkaesque world where their experiences are dismissed, ridiculed, or even exploited. Medical professionals who should be allies can become gatekeepers, perpetuating a culture of disbelief and stigma. These sinister sleep studies are a chilling reminder of the vulnerability of the human psyche. They show how desperate people, particularly those grappling with sleep disorders or other mental health challenges, can be targeted and abused in the name of medical science. It's a stark warning of how easily the boundaries of ethics can be crossed when the pursuit of knowledge overshadows human compassion and dignity. But perhaps the most terrifying aspect of these studies is the fact that they may still be happening. Perhaps there are individuals right now who are going through these terrifying ordeals, their cries for help lost in the labyrinth of medical bureaucracy and scientific ambition. As we close this chilling chapter, we're left with more questions than answers. Where do we draw the line between scientific inquiry and human experimentation? And who will stand up for those whose voices have been silenced by their own personal nightmares? The only solace lies in the hope that by shedding light on these dark practices, we can prevent future generations from falling prey to the sinister allure of nightmare factories. And perhaps in empowering ourselves with knowledge, we can ensure that the darkness of our nightmares never encroaches upon the fragile light of our waking lives.